Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Remember playing hide and go seek as kids? You know, a group of friends, they would hide and then somebody in the group would have to go find everybody. Well, who put out more energy? Was it the kids hiding, or was it the one that was picked that had to find everybody? Well, of course, it was the kid that was picked to go find everybody. And why was that a role that a lot of kids didn't want to play? Because what if they didn't find everybody? What if it was rules of the game to where if you found the person, that there was a safe base and that person could run to it? Not only did you have to find them, but you had to tag them before they got to the safe base. Well, what does all of this have to do about you going for your goals, turning those hopes, those dreams, and those wishes into reality? Well, it's a whole lot easier to hide. It is a whole lot easier to say, well, come find me. And if I don't like it, then I'm going to complain about it. I'm going to say, no, you didn't tag me the right way. You didn't come looking for me the way that I needed to be found. See, those original imprints that we experienced as kids are now showing up in our adult life, as simple as it seems. On these childhood games, they led to experiences of public failure. And we learned that to be wrong meant that others were going to point out our flaws, and we didn't have the coping skills to be able to fix them. It is said that over 80% of who we are as an adult was learned by age 8. So what did you learn? And how did you then point at others and go, well, it's your fault that I can't play the game correctly. You're the reason why it's not working out. Welcome to Hiding from Your Success. We're going to be looking at the core 4 wounds on why it is easier for you to hope that success finds you. We're going to look at how you spiral into sabotage, the steps that you have to take to turn the power from failure into progress. And then I'm going to give you a very simple exercise that you can use to begin to upgrade your life right away. By the way, if you are joining me live, you have the ability to ask questions. If now, I'll tell you, last week I went to do this training, got halfway through, and my mic cut out. So if you're joining me and all of a sudden, hey, the audio isn't working the way it's supposed to, let me know. Okay. All right. So let's get into the reasons why you would hold yourself back from being your very best, why you would say, no, success needs to come find me. And let me give you a couple of examples of this. Saw a couple of people over the last few days who are hiding from success. One wants a new position and has been putting in applications to find it. She was told that by the prospective employers that they would be reaching out to her with a final decision, but no one's calling her back. And so she's waiting, and if she doesn't hear after a while, then she goes on to the next one. And my suggestion was, why don't you reach out to them? Show them that you're really wanting this position. And she's like, no, if they want me, they'll call me. If they want to find me, they'll come looking hard enough, just like in the game of hide and go seek. Yeah. But that's okay as kids. It's not okay as adults. We want people to prove to us why they should be in our life. And so is she hiding from success? I don't know. You decide after we go through these exercises together. Do you see yourself in it anywhere to where you're like, no, success should come find me? I had someone else who was in a relationship, not going well. She knew it needed to be ended. She wasn't taking the steps for it. So the other person ended the relationship over the weekend, and it was not in a pretty way. In fact, it was in a way that disempowered her. Okay, well, did she take the steps to claim her power at the very beginning, or did she say, I'm going to hide from what needs to happen and give my power away to this other person to determine how it's going to end? Had to take a drink for just a moment. For those of you who are listening on the Stop the Self-Sabotage podcast. Okay, so she allowed the other person to decide the ending for her. She was hiding. Well, why was she hiding? Because we have to own the failure whenever we want to move forward. We have to own that things aren't going to work out. And it is a public ownership that we're not getting the ending that we want. And it's easier to hide and say, well, maybe they'll come and find me. But success isn't going to work that way as an adult. You have to go out and say, I'm willing to be public on what's not working. Okay, so I'm going to share with you how we spiral into self-sabotage. Then I'm going to show you the multiple steps that it takes to actually move into progress. And then I'm going to break it down into a very simple system for you. Again, if you have any questions on this, and you've joined me live, give me a shout out. Also, if you want the forms that are going to go along with this and the exercise that I'm going to give you, you also need to let me know in the comments. And then I'll make sure that you have access to those. Okay, so what happens that keeps us hiding from success? Well, it all starts with doubt. That we're not quite sure we have the ability to own what's happening. That do we have the skill set? Do we have the coping mechanisms? And we're going back to what's known as an imprint. An imprint is an experience that you've been through where you began to accept what was happening as the truth about you, whether it was or not. And imprints can be positive for progress, and they can also be painful for failure. But whatever direction it's going, we think that, yes, this is who we are. Once we start with doubt, then it moves into worry. And this is when we begin to ruminate and going over something again and again, but it's typically all mental. We're not taking the actions to be able to break the cycle. If you were to take an action at this point, and step forward, even though it might be something that's going to fail, because we know, according to Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, for every 10 things you do, 8 are not going to work, but there are lessons there. Only 2 will out of that 10. That's 1 out of 5. And it's going to be based on the lessons you learned with the other 4. But for most people, they continue to go over the situation in their mind instead of taking implementation actions that aren't going to necessarily lead them where they need to go, but it's going to reveal something they need to know about themselves that it will lead to progress later on. Now, if this goes on too long, for some people, 24 hours, but typically 72. If the doubt and worry stage goes on for 72 hours of ruminating over something, now we're going to go into a fear state. And fear shows up as fight, flight, or freeze. Fight says we're going to get in there, we're going to take the actions, not quite sure how it's going to work out, but we're going to do our very best. Flight says that we're going to hide from it, going to pull the covers over our head, and we're just going to hope for the very best. Freeze says that we're not sure what direction we should go, so we just stop and we don't do anything. From there, depending on what your operating basis is. By the way, fear is simply energy to get more done with less effort. Once the mind has been conditioned that when the fear turns on, this is what it's supposed to do. But you're frozen. You're not moving in either direction. When this happens, the brain goes back to the original trauma that you experienced when you didn't have the capability to make life any better because you were at an immature place. You were a child expected to act as a grown-up. You were a child that was looking to adults in your environment to protect you, and they were doing anything but that. You were looking at the teacher to build you up, and instead they were pointing out all your flaws. You were looking for the friends to have your back, and instead they were pulling you down so they'd feel better. Okay. And then experiences that validate the doubt. The mind has learned that this is the system you are supposed to go through again and again, and that this is what's going to happen every time you doubt. So can you see how you've set off a spiral of sabotage? That there could be a very simple step that you could take to break the back of lack in your life. But the brain is going, no, this is what we're conditioned to experience. When you look at why don't you have your dreams turned into reality, it's because you've been conditioned to go through this system. Now, I'm going to show you the system that it's going to take to move you out of it completely. And then we're going to move into a very simple exercise for you to start getting results. Now, you won't get resolution with it, but you will begin to see progress. Okay, what is the system for complete resolution? You have to make a decision with implementation. This is what breaks the back of lack in your life. This is what interrupts. It does a pattern interrupt on the doubt, is that you make a decision that you are going to own this dream turned into reality, and you don't care how long it's going to take, and you really don't care what you're going to have to do that scares you, because that goal is yours. Then you have to look at what needs to be valued. You know, that worry that comes up that you ruminate over and over again? Well, you have to ask yourself, well, what are you valuing right now? Because it's okay for you to be concerned. Concern says that you're not living your values. You are not in integrity with them. There's something you want, and you're actually hiding from the steps that need to take place for you to be able to get it. So you need to be concerned. Do you have the skill set? Do you have the emotional optimization? Do you have the mindset? Do you have the mentor to call you out whenever you're hiding? That's what's going to break the cycle of worry. Then after that, you have to review the actions that you're already engaging in, saying, are you doing enough actions? Are they coming fast enough? There's an old adage that you need to fail and you need to fail faster and you need to fail forward. I will fail more in one day than a lot of people will in a week, a month, or maybe even a year, because they need to find out what works. So instead of just taking one action and then waiting a few days and then maybe taking another action, no, you need to take action one after the other after the other. But to be able to do that, you need to move up to the next level where you've turned that fear into excitement, where you've learned to flip the switch and say, yeah, whenever I have fear, it is simply going to mean extra energy for me to get more done with less effort. I need to be able to optimize the emotions, because I'm here to tell you the fear is not going to go away. So you have to learn how to use it. Look at our first responders, the people that we rely on to be their very best when we're having the worst moment of our very worst day. Do they have fear? Yes, but they've learned to give it a different meaning, one that upgrades the quality of their life and the lives of those they touch. You need to be able to do the same thing. Flip that fear into the passion that says, I own this. Then from there, obstacles. You have to see it as an opportunity that is going to reveal you at your very best. You don't hide from those obstacles. You say, okay, I need to take responsibility, ownership for what it is that I want to experience. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to become whatever it takes for me to have that. So when an obstacle shows up, it's not me pointing my fingers, blaming, shaming, and complaining about somebody else and what they're not doing. I'm pointing the finger first at me and say, who do I need to be? What do I need to focus on? What emotions do I need to optimize? And then what actions do I need to take? And I need to take an action right now to prove to myself that this is really who I am. And then to keep from going back to the area of your mind that's been traumatized, because what you needed when you were younger was not there. The people, the resources were taken away from you. To keep from going back to that traumatized area, you need to adapt, and you need to adapt every single day based on, I took an action, it didn't work. Some will, some won't. So what's next? So you're always saying, what's working with it and how can I make it even better? And then from there, your results will begin to validate your decision. See, remember, when you spiral into sabotage, you'll get results that validate the doubt that you can ever have what it is that you want. Walking up this pyramid to get resolution, well, your very powerful mind will begin to look for everything in your environment to support you turning that wish, that hope, that dream into your reality, because it validates the decision you made with action. But this is involved. All right. So what is it that we can do to begin to move you into an upgraded identity? I'm going to share a very simple exercise with you. But before I do that, I'm going to give you 4 choices of how to move along faster, quicker, and easier. The first choice, and I'm giving you 4 choices. The psychology behind selling says, oh no, don't ever give people 4 choices, because that overwhelms the mediocre masses. But if you've been in my life for a while, you know you're not mediocre. You're looking for ways to be magnificent. So this is the reason why you can handle those additional choices. Okay, first choice is to go to my website, drewdawnferguson.com, and sign up to get your free hypnosis audio. The one that I'm offering right now is called Turning Over a New Leaf, and it is there for you to be able to let go of the trash from your past. So it's easier to climb your pyramid of power, because it's going to take you a whole lot longer to get results when you're dragging all the crap that happened to you, trying to drag it up to the peak. No, you got to let some things go. So you've got access to a free hypnosis session. The second option that you have is that you have the ability to go to drewdawnferguson.com and drewdawnferguson.com/stop, STOP. And for a $7 investment, you're going to be taught the process of how to go back to those experiences the younger you had and begin to upgrade those experiences, upgrade your identity, so that with the exercise I'm getting ready to take you through, you have the ability to be able to start speeding up the results that you get. Okay, now why only $7? Because I want to make it as simple as possible for you. And then the last opportunity before we get to this exercise of turning your never-ending needs for failure into your superior strength for power, before we get to that exercise, I'm going to give you one last opportunity. And that opportunity is to learn how to upgrade your identity by focusing your mindset, optimizing your emotions, and understanding that failure is actually here to serve you. Whether you get access to the Life Mastery course or decide to choose the Life Mastery course and work with me in conjunction, you can find that at drewdawnferguson.com/SH, stands for self-hypnosis, and learn how to master your mind. I will give you the bonus of the STOP program, and there's another bonus of an additional course, but that is only good through October 30th. Okay, let's move into what I have now. If you want the handout for this, you're going to need to give me a shout out down below, and I'll make sure you have access to it. Okay, your pyramid of power and pain says that you have 4 levels to your personality. You have certainty, you have variety, you have worthiness, and you have validation. And each of these areas have a painful side as well as progress. They also each have a wound. So the area that is certainty starts out with safety. It says that for you to be okay, you need to be dependent on other people, places, and things. And when they don't work out, you blame, shame, and complain by pointing at them. Security is really what you want to experience. And security says, if it is to be, it is up to me. But your wound at this area is going to be abandonment. Whatever you needed when you were younger to begin to develop your skill set in counting on yourself was taken away from you. So you feel like that you constantly have to hand your power away to other people, places, and things to be okay. Now, if you did get a level of security where you were empowered to discover things about yourself, you move up to the next level of variety, which is now you want to experience a variety of emotions. But if you weren't taught how to optimize those emotions, if you weren't given the freedom of, well, yeah, you can feel this way about yourself. This is the level of self-esteem. You can feel this way about yourself, or you can feel this way. If you weren't taught how to express yourself in a way that was always going to move you forward, then you'd experience a lot of drama in your life. Not just you having drama, but other people who are going to have drama king and queen moments. And there's always going to be crisis, chaos, and drama, because you learned that that's what meant expression. And so either people are dumping all over you, or you're dumping all over them. And the emotional wound at this level is rejection. You learned to reject something before it could ever reject you. At least you'd be in control of it that way. So they're not going to tell me no. Go back to the very beginning when I said that there was somebody in my world over the weekend that was looking for a new position. They were told that they were going to be called back on Friday. They didn't get the call. I said, well, why don't you call on Monday? No, no, no. If they want me, they'll call me. Okay. Now, so she's rejecting her ability to find out, to prove to that employer she really wants that position. It's easier for her to say, no, I'll reject them, and keep herself hiding from success, because that way she's maintaining some sort of control over it, although it's dysfunctional. You get out there. You've got to experience the freedom of, I'm going to be in control of this. They might tell me no, but that's okay. I'm going to move on to the next one. Now, if you were taught how to have a level of freedom in your choices, that what you experienced in life was not going to be dependent on who told you no, because you were going to keep going, then you moved up to the next level. The next level is worthiness. For a lot of us, we learn to experience worthiness through importance of, look at me and how I have to sacrifice for everybody to be okay, or look at me and look at how I have to save everybody. So very dysfunctional way to move through life. What we really wanted was significance. Significance was where someone recognized our brilliance and said, you know what, I'd like to partner with you on that. I'd like to work with you and see what we can create, because the two of us coming together and what we can create as a unit that way is so much stronger than us trying to do it individually. But if you're stuck over at, I have to have all of these problems in order to save the world, or I have to have all these problems because I have to lessen myself for others to be okay. Now think about this for a moment. This is almost like saying, I have to stop breathing so you'll have enough air. That's the level of importance, okay? You'll keep going back to that because you don't feel good enough. You don't feel worthy. Now, not feeling worthy can actually be very healthy, because it says there's something else that needs to be revealed about us. There's a skill set that we need to be able to adapt to. There's emotions that we have to optimize. We need to upgrade our focus and that identity. But if we don't realize that that is because when we're better, the world is better, we keep feeling like no, that we're never going to be good enough, we will continue to seek out people, places, and things that will point out, yeah, you're not good enough. And so we've got that unworthiness wound going on. But if we did have a level of worthiness, we found something that we were passionate about, and we're actually be able to move into progress, then we move up to the next level, because you can only have so much progress. And then others around you begin to feel threatened, and then you learn through nonverbal communication. And sometimes it is said, but usually it's expressed just with intent through the actions of others, that you better hold yourself back so that they don't feel bad about where they're at. And so we learn to stay connected to others through problems. Let's share. I also experienced that this weekend of how do we share that important connection? Well, let's bitch, moan, whine, and complain about other people and what they're not doing, because we've learned that that's what we need to do to be validated, because that's this level, the level of validation. We learn that in place of love, we can validate navigate through problems and stay connected with others. And what we really want to experience is fuller expression, the brilliance of life. That's the true meaning of love. And we sacrifice it. So we can, because we don't want to be too successful, because then other people are going to feel bad about who they are and where they're at. Okay, so I told you that everything that I had covered, I was going to simplify for you. If you want access to the questions that I'm going to take you through, as well as this pyramid of power, then you need to give me a shout out down below and let me know that you want access to these exercises. Okay. So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to look at what's known as the core four. The core four emotional wounds that I took you through, and say, okay, for the dream that I want to turn into reality, for what I want to experience, what level am I operating from? Am I operating from certainty, where I continue to hand my power away? Am I operating from the level of variety, where I have not learned how to optimize my emotions? Is it going to be the level of worthiness? I feel like I keep having to sacrifice myself. Or is it going to be the level of validation? And on the level of validation, it's going to be, I've learned to connect to others, but it's always through problems instead of progress. By the way, if you're listening to me on the Stop the Self-Sabotage podcast, I have given you a link where you can go to the website, give me a shout out there that you want the packet that goes along with today, and with your email address, and I will make sure that you get access to this. So number one, you've got to look at which level are you coming from. Number two, how does it serve you to stay stuck and struggling in this area? What pain are you avoiding? And then three, list at least 3 ways you can get this need met in a healthy way. Moving from, oh, I've got to avoid that emotional wound, I've got to avoid that trauma, into progress producing. Number 4, you've got to make the decision now that you're going to move this never-ending need that seems to keep you stuck and struggling into your superior strength. And what action can you take right now to reinforce this decision? Because if you go back to your pyramid of progress, I said every decision needs to be backed up with an action immediately. And then what are the ways you can reward yourself for taking this action? How can you pat yourself on the back for taking action that you know is probably going to lead you into failure, but that's okay, because eventually it will lead you into progress, because each failure should teach you something about yourself. All right. If I can be of assistance with this, because success is easy. We are the ones that are complicated. You know it's going to take more than writing down your goals and creating a pretty picture board and chanting some affirmations. It has been behaviorally proven that all 3 of these things will actually reinforce staying stuck and struggling. But I've already gone a little long, so we'll have to look at why it can hold you back at another Magnificent Mindset Monday training. We're complicated. We need to work with someone that says, yeah, let's look at the different levels and layers of success and who you are at each one of these. And then you need to have the system customized to you instead of making you try to fit the steps. So I gave you 4 options. Option number 1 is going to the website drewdawnferguson.com, signing up for your free hypnosis audio so you can begin to let some of the pain from your past go so this process can be easier for you. Number 2, go to drewdawnferguson.com/stop, S-T-O-P, and for a $7 investment, you can see the system that is going to assist you with that painful past. It even has its home study course. It even has hypnosis sessions attached to it to begin to upgrade the trauma that you've experienced into a learning lesson for life. You can go to drewdawnferguson.com/SH. And there you have the system that is going to teach you how to upgrade your identity. You also have the option for me to assist you with the system to upgrade your identity so you can get results quicker, faster, and easier. I don't know where you're at, but I do believe that I have to earn the right to be in your life to assist you with this. So if you've got questions, if we need to chat so you can make sure I'm the fit for you, 636-699-7791. But this is what is no longer an option. Staying stuck and struggling. You continue to hide from success, thinking it's going to come find you. You continue to re-traumatize your brain because you're going back to that original imprint and you're not doing anything to upgrade it. What happened to you was not your fault, but you have to take full responsibility for taking that imprint and turning it into your pyramid of power. And I would be honored if I could be the one to assist you. So until we get together again, blessings on your brilliance, because when you're better through it, the world is better because your light shines even brighter. Thank you.